Sheet-thin flakes of dark wood fell gently to the floor. The arrival of each new delicate shard was triggered by the measured slice of a dented blade. Despite its dull and weathered guise, it cut keenly and sent each elegant curl into flight before the last had fallen to the boards below. A queer field of scrapings now sat about the man. They fluttered just a little with the draught, shivering in a soft circle tied about the carver, who sat amidst them, a grey and haggard island. Rain tumbled off the roof. The water had kept them in for days. Two men sat in a corner, but had kept their faces hidden. They would be gone for irregular stretches before materializing, the same hard shadows donning the same stiff benches. He would watch as they huddled their thick-coated forms about a little table. He could see their hands moving swiftly between them, but whatever held their focus was obscured by the larger man. The carver presumed they might be jostling at some game. They rarely raised their heads, and if words had passed between them, he hadn't heard. Practiced voices could scarcely speak above a whisper in a place like this. No other soul had crossed its boundaries since the man's arrival. It was out of the way at the peak of travel, and he'd been surprised to find anyone in the heart of a storm. The place was no larger than a hovel, and had naught but its ramshackle exterior to stand stalwart against the mightiest of the wind's assail. The features of the creature in his lap had just begun to rise from its sunken face when the room's heavy door kicked in. 3 heads turned to see a quaking figure illuminated against the driving elements. It fell inside, spilling dark water about the matted carpet where it struggled to prevent a further sprawl. It flashed its face towards them. Her glare was hooded, lined with a mild fury that stood each man a pace in return. She was terribly pale. A ragged and filthy stain below her chest gave the impression of incredible pain. The room quietened as one of the corner men slowly closed the door. Between her heavy breathing, the carver noticed that one hand clutched something desperately to her stomach. Her fingers were wrapped trembling about a hide-wrapped form. Eyes narrowed as she noticed it stare. Her other hand left her chest to reach for a broad-bladed axe which swung at her hip. She levelled it with a cracked iron clasp and scuttled off towards the corner, where darkness fell about her. Only a few still moments passed before the other 3 figures returned to their posts, each content to leave the other's path to themselves. Come the morning, the rain had lessened and given way to an ink-bright sky and a lonesome drizzle. Enough to leave, the man had decided. He gathered himself and quietly approached the corner on his way to the door. All that remained was a damp mass slumped against the wall. The brightness had left her eyes, with all that remained of her warmth. With a fragile touch, he leant over and prized the little parcel from her grip. It came easily enough. A gem fell into his palm, no bigger than a hen's egg. It held nothing which marked it out to the man as beyond the mere ordinary. Practically clear, the only colour it held was a faint linger of teal. It reminded the man of the sea. It had been cut roughly. The 2 stout men from the corner had indicated they would deal with the body. They were staying for the time being, and something about their manner told the man they didn't lack the expertise. Before the carver stepped out into the mizzle, he left his creature on a crooked set of shelves, and there beside it placed the dead woman's stone. He liked the way the 2 sat amongst the other knacks and trinkets left by those who'd been before, elevating the little display. He savoured his final glance before nodding to the men in the corner. Pulling the heavy wooden door closed behind him, he walked out into the failing rain.